finally time to talk about the Cobb Accessport for the Explorer ST. They all look the same. So instead of going with the show, let's start with the go and let's get in the car and I'm gonna show you guys how to install it and how to take some logs and kind of what to expect in the tuning process if you were to get a custom e-tune from me for your Explorer ST. Okay guys, welcome to the interior of my wife's Explorer ST. We are about to do some tuning. So I've got the Accessport plugged in using the OBD2 cable that comes with it. And as you can see, I've got it mounted over here on the side in the air vent. But anyways, as you can see, with the ignition on and the Accessport plugged into the OBD2 port, and of course I've got it kind of wrapped up around the steering wheel to keep the cable out of the way. I'm gonna hide that better later. When you plug it in out of the box, you're gonna get this screen. It's gonna ask you to install, and obviously that's going to be the first step towards getting this flashed. And when you turn it on for the first time or install it for the first time, you're gonna have the Cobb off-the-shelf maps, and you have different transmission options, you have different stages, or well, different fuel options. So the first one that I went with was the Stage 1 93 octane, and I did the Sport TCM, so that's this one right here. And then of course we've got the custom maps that I've done here, or at least a few of them on here that I've left on here. And I am currently running 93 octane, so I'm going to put this one that I finished right here. You're gonna select it and then hit OK to continue, and it's gonna install the map. Now you're gonna probably, once you purchase an Accessport, you're gonna select either the Stage 0 or Stage 1 maps and install those, because you're not going to have a custom map from me yet. I'm gonna skip the factory backup, but you can back up factory data if you want. It does take quite a bit longer for that first flash if you do the factory backup. Alright, so now that it is flashed, it's going to ask you to turn it off for 15 seconds. We'll go ahead and do that. I lost track of the time, but here we go. Should be more than 15 seconds there. And then we're going to hit OK. Remember to connect Accessport to AP Manager for updates and all that good stuff. And now we are installed and ready to go. So the next step that you're going to need to do is going to be to go inside and connect to your computer, and then you're going to get the Accessport info for me so that I can send you a base map. So you go to cobbtuning.com, you click Software, Accessport Manager, and it's going to pull up download. We are using Windows, so I'm going to click there. All right, it's that easy. cobbtuning.com, Accessport Manager. We've downloaded a new copy on my computer technically, but that just shows you how to download it or where to get it. We are connected to the Accessport. I have it plugged in via the USB cable that's provided, and looks like there are updates, so you're going to want to go ahead and do that. If you have updates available, you're going to want to update them, and so that's going to take some time, so we're going to skip ahead. Okay, we are now up to date. So what you are looking for when you connect to your AP via AP Manager is the AP info, which is right here. You're gonna click on that, you're gonna hit copy, and then you're going to paste that in response to the email, the welcome email that you get when you purchase a tune from us. And I'll be able to take that information, which primarily I need to know the vehicle name and the AP serial number. It also will tell you which map you have installed, which that's what's on mine right now. Now it's copied, and once it's copied, it's just copied to your clipboard. You can go to respond to the welcome email that we send you, and you just paste this in response along with your mods list. So to get the map that I send you on the computer or onto your Accessport from the computer, you're going to click search for maps here, and don't put it on your downloads file because it will be forever long, but you go to browse, and you're going to select the file that it's in. Obviously, see, as you can see, I've selected the file that the maps are in, but there's nothing showing up here. That's okay, you're just selecting the folder. Now you can see over here, we have all the maps that are in that folder. So you can select the map that you want, you can hit upload, and then it will give you the option to upload it to the Accessport. It's already on there, so I'm gonna not do that, but you will upload it to the Accessport, and then you will take the Accessport out to the car and flash it. All right, we are back in the car. We've got our Accessport plugged in, the ignition is on, and to flash the map, we are gonna come down here to Tune, Change ECU Map. I'm not gonna actually do this. It only takes a couple of minutes to do a flash because I've already got the map that I want flashed, which is the only 93 octane map on there because I deleted all the others off, but it is already on there, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Instead, we're gonna look at some other things on the Accessport in the time that it would take you to flash the car. So this is your home screen. You have your setup. You can come in here, you have auto on off. I like to make sure that it turns off automatically when the car goes off. You also have this help about screen. If you're not plugging your Accessport in your computer and you need the AP info, you can go to About Accessport. It's got the installed vehicle there. It's got the serial number there. Those are the ones that I need. But you are going to need to plug it into Accessport Manager regardless to upload maps to the Accessport and download data logs. Back down, we have the gauge screen. You're going to need to set up your data log list for me whenever you are ready to start tuning, and this is where you're going to do that. So we're going to go to gauges, and it's got to identify the ECU. Of course, we're not running, so none of this stuff is on currently, but so in order to set up data logging, we're going to click the up button, and we're going to go to setup and then configure data logging. And then you have your data log list here, and I'm going to send you a list of things to select for this. This is where you're going to select stuff, and you just select or deselect. See, that turns it green by selecting. Hit it again, it turns it off. So the green light on the side there tells you that it's on. So we're gonna exit out of that. Also, you might want to change your gauge configuration, so you can do your gauge layout. We also have performance. It will measure your 0 to 60 in quarter mile time. I haven't actually used these. I use the Draggy. As you can see, it's sitting there on the dash, you know, because race SUV. You got your troubleshooting menu. Here you can go and read codes. You can reset the ECU. It's your tune menu. This is where you're going to go, like, change ECU map if you're changing your map. Dynamic pedal control. This is a new feature that I haven't got to play with too much, but you can adjust the sensitivity of the throttle pedal. It's kind of like a pedal commander kind of thing, but it's built into the Accessport, which is awesome, which means you don't need to buy a pedal commander if you want to adjust the sensitivity. You got tire size, which is also pretty handy. So you can set that up if you're changing wheels and tires and whatnot, which I will be soon, so that's really cool. And then Valley mode, instead of being a separate map, is now an option in the tune adjustments. So every map can become a valet mode. So that's really cool. There's some cool features here, which I really like about the Accessport. It's super easy to use and user-friendly. You just basically, the screen gives you the instructions. So like you can just see what it does, what everything does there on the screen. So I am going to go out and collect data log now and show you guys what I do for that. Okay guys, now that we have got the Accessport installed and map flashed, it is time to go out and get some data logs. And this is going to be the next step for you, that once you have everything flashed, you're going to collect a data log for me. So I'm going to show you how we go about doing that now. But I also want to talk about what I've been doing with the tune while I drive to my data logging spot. So to start, on the tuning process, I like to see kind of what the vehicle does stock. So I flashed the stage 0 map with the stock TCM and went out and did some pulls, got some logs, and I've been using virtual dyno to kind of give me an idea of how much power the Explorer's making. I do all my data logs in the exact same spot, and while virtual dyno isn't the best tool to use, it is better than no dyno at all if you're being consistent with your data logging spot. So I have been using that kind of as a little bit of a tool to get an idea of where I am seeing gains and whatnot. But to start out, on this Cobb Stage 0 map, I was at 377 horsepower and 428 foot-pounds of torque, which I believe is about where it should be for a stock vehicle. And again, no parts of this car. I have not done anything to it. So that seems about right for a stock car. After doing the Stage 0 map, I flashed the Cobb Stage 1 map, the 93 octane Stage 1 with Sport TCM. And I went out and got some more logs on that and put that in vDyno. That one bumped up to 429 horsepower over 377, which is a decent gain. And it did 479 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, 479 foot-pounds of torque. So pretty decent gain there with the Cobb Stage 1 93 octane map. Then, after doing some custom tuning, I was able to take my laptop out with me and kind of just hammer out some refinements through some revisions, and ended up at 471 horsepower and 527 foot-pounds of torque. So 471 horsepower, 527 foot-pounds of torque, which is again another pretty big step up over the Cobb's Stage 1 map. But even though I don't have access to ethanol where I live, I was able to get my hands on some with it's a long drive to get there essentially. But I filled up a couple of 5-gallon cans, brought it back, and did an E40 blend. And with E40, the car made 505 horsepower and, well, I actually saw as much as 580 foot-pounds of torque, but I ended up dialing it back to around 560 foot-pounds of torque, I think. Anyways, it'll be on the screen. But yeah, it's massive gains with ethanol. Again, completely stock Explorer. I know there's more that I could make on ethanol, but to do that requires completely eliminating all of the compensations that deal with charge air temp, and I don't want to do that. Like I want this to be safe, so I am leaving in all those compensations and letting them do their job, so that as it gets really hot, charge air temp wise, it brings down essentially the torque that the car is targeting, or the load that is being asked for, and it also reduces timing so as to avoid knock. Now, I was using Draggy to get some more information as far as like quarter-mile times and stuff, and I'll post some of my Draggy times that I've gone through so far, just so you guys can see them. But I started out with a 1385 on Draggy, which I'm sure that video will be shown here. And then I got that down with the Cobb OTS map. I was running around a 1301. And then with a custom tune, I was at a 1274. And then on my E40 map, I was at a 1253. Anyways, now that I've told you kind of where I've been or what I've been doing with the tune, let me show you how to collect a data log. So we're just pulling up to the data log spot. Some of you guys may notice that I've just kind of been making a loop, just checking it out, making sure that we're good on traffic and everything. And I've got the car in sport mode. I'm also gonna put it in manual mode because I want it to hold the gear. And when I ask you to do a data log, I'm either gonna have you do 4th gear or 5th gear. I'm gonna do a 4th gear pull right now. I'm in 4th gear, I'm at about 2,500 RPM. I'm gonna start the log by hitting the center button on the AP once it says logging, floor it. just gonna rev it out through 6,000. It actually hits the limiter and shifts into 5th. And then I'm gonna let off and stop log. And so we get that single gear pull, and I'll usually ask for 5th gear. If you don't have enough room for 5th gear, you can do 4th gear. But that gives me enough, it's like doing kind of a pull on the dyno, so I can see like what it's doing through the entire rev range. I'll also have you guys do multi-gear logs. So usually for that, I'll have you start in like 2nd gear at a lower speed, probably around 2,500 RPM in 2nd gear, sport mode, auto, and then you just floor it and you let it shift and you run it up into 5th gear so that you can, so that I can see what it's doing when it's shifting and all that, because I want to see how it runs as it's going through the RPM ranges, also as it's changing gears and all that. So that's usually the 2 type of logs that I ask for. But yeah, so that's really all there is to it. And then once you've collected the data log, you're gonna go to your computer and you're gonna plug in your Accessport like I showed you before, download the log, attach it in response, and send it to me via email. I'm enjoying immensely tuning this thing via Cobb, via the Accessport. And my results so far I'm pretty happy with. Definitely gonna continue to push. I've got a CVF, I think, intercooler sitting in the garage right now. I got from a friend, and I'm going to be installing that soon. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the Accessport, you should definitely reach out and let me know. I'd be happy to walk you through anything you have questions about. I'd be happy to take care of your tuning needs. If you would like to get a tune, you can email tuning@edgeautosport.com, or you can go to edgeautosport.com, the website, and purchase the e-tune there. But yeah, I can't wait to share more as I continue to mod this Explorer, continue to tune it and make it faster, and I'm excited for what the future holds on this vehicle. But you guys, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure and like the videos. It helps with the YouTube algorithms. Subscribe to our channel, and we'll catch you next time.